That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people, people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. It means Nelson Mandela is conveying his sincere gratitude to those people who have sacrificed their lives for attaining freedom from the white oppression. Therefore, ultimately, when South Africa got freedom, when ultimately South Africa democracy was established, so Nelson Mandela got the opportunity to thank those people, convey his heartiest regards to those people and gratitude to those people who have sacrificed their lives in order to liberate their own people from the oppression of the white government. Therefore, he is saying their sacrifice and suffering can never be counted or repaid. That cannot be counted or repaid. Okay, because they have already taken leave from this world, and they can never be. They can never come back to this world. They have already died, but he is conveying his sincere gratitude to them. Okay, with his speech. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. So he is again showing his gratitude to those people, those patriots of South Africa who have struggled a lot, suffered a lot, and died before they could achieve freedom for their people. So that is why Nelson Mandela is conveying his sincere gratitude to them. He said, I felt that day as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. Okay, because Nelson Mandela now represents all those patriots who have sacrificed their life in order to liberate their black community from the white oppression. Therefore, he said, I am the representative of all those African patriots, okay, who had gone before me, because they have already died. Therefore, I've got to represent their cause. I've got to show my sincere gratitude to them, because they are no longer there in this world, and they have struggled a lot to liberate the black community. Okay. That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. Now, he said, it has now begun with me. He said, now it is me who has to carry forward their vision, the vision of all the African patriots. It is me who have to carry forward the objectives, vision, and cause of those martyrs, okay, who have struggled a lot during their lifetime and become martyred in the process of their struggle. So now I have to represent them as I am living being. Therefore, I have got to represent them. I have got to forward their cause, forward their agenda, and liberate the present generation of black community. Okay, so this is how he is also taking pledge. Okay, in addition to showing his gratitude to those dead African patriots, he is also pledging to the people that it's my responsibility now to take care of my people, because now I have got the power and there is democracy in the country. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. Okay, so dear students, now he is feeling very sad because because all the African patriots who have suffered and died for the cause of liberation are no longer alive to see the fruit of their hard work. Now that democracy is established in South Africa, but those patriots are no more there to enjoy the fruit of their hard work, okay, to enjoy the fruit of their sacrifices. Now, Nelson Mandela will go on to speak about the ill effects of apartheid. Dear students, I told you in my previous class the meaning of apartheid. It's a political system where there is segregation or discrimination between black community and white community. So this is what is apartheid all about. So now that democracy is established in South Africa, there will not be any kind of discrimination. So the policy of apartheid will come to an end. Okay, the policy of apartheid will no longer exist because now democracy has been established in South Africa. Therefore, he will now speak on the ill effect of apartheid. Okay, in this paragraph. So he is saying the policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. Okay, this particular policy, this particular political system of discrimination between black and the white community has created a lasting wound. Okay, wound which will take time to heal because it's years of oppression, years of suffering, years of insult, years of discrimination. Okay, so that kind of discrimination, oppression, suffering has created a kind of a wound in the heart of the people, in the heart of the black community of people, which will take time to heal. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from that profound hurt. So he's saying many of it will take many years for all of us, okay, to recover from that wound. Profound hurt, profound hurt means a deep wound that policy of apartheid has caused in the heart of people. So it will take many years for the people, for the black community in South Africa to forget that wound or profound hurt, okay, which the white government has caused in the mind of the black people, black community of people by their way of discrimination, oppression, and deprivation, and etc. Okay, and so on. But the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that was that it produced the Oliver Tambo's, the Walter Sisulas, the Chief Luthulis, the Yusuf Dadus, the Brown Fishers, the Robert Sobukwe's of our time, men of such extraordinary courage. Okay, men of such extraordinary courage. So dear students, these are the pictures of those people who Nelson Mandela is referring to now in his speech, and these are some prominent names in the struggle against apartheid. These were the people who struggled against the policy of apartheid. Okay, for the use of the definite article with proper nouns. Okay, so dear students, Nelson Mandela pays tribute to those people like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Luthuli, and the like, for their protest, for their agitation against the apartheid policy. Therefore, Nelson Mandela is paying tribute to their efforts and in his speech. Okay, but there is an unintended means it was not intended, means it was not expected, or it was not there, it just happened by default. What happens, see, when people undergo a lot of suffering, dear students, when people undergo a lot of suffering and oppression for years together, what happens, it makes people mentally strong. Okay, it makes people mentally tough. Okay, very much tough. So decades of oppression from white government, okay, from the white segregation has have caused a lot of wound in the mind of people. Understood? So this wound has made those people very much strong mentally. Therefore, Nelson Mandela says decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect. What is the effect? Decades of oppression and insult and brutality has produced the strong personalities like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Luthuli, Yusuf Dadu, Brown Fisher and Robert Sobukwe. Okay, because of oppression and suffering, these leaders were produced. Therefore, the meaning of this line is this, what I just told you. Decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that is it produced such strong men as these people, okay, whom you can see in the picture. Okay, because if people do not undergo suffering, then they cannot become mentally strong. Okay, if life is very easy and smooth, okay, if it is a roller coaster ride for all of us, then we do not have the opportunity to know what is suffering, and if we do not undergo suffering and pain, we cannot be mentally tough or mentally strong. So Nelson Mandela is now describing the positive effect of suffering. What happens as a result of years of oppression and suffering? As a result of years of oppression and suffering, people become mentally very tough and strong. Okay, that is why years of operation have produced strong leaders like these people who have fought against the policy of apartheid. Okay, now let's move on to the next paragraph. Okay, man of such, you can see, man of such extraordinary courage, wisdom, and generosity that their like may never be known again. So years of oppression and suffering have produced such strong man, extraordinary man of courage, wisdom, and generosity, because all the positive qualities were developed in the process of suffering by the white government. Therefore, such extraordinary people were created. Okay, and perhaps it requires that their like may never be known again. Means their like those people, it is very difficult to produce some more people. Okay, it is very difficult to produce some more people like those mentioned in the picture and in the speech of Nelson Mandela. Why? Because now in the world of democracy, there is not so much of suffering and misery. Okay, and as I told you, and as Nelson Mandela also means here, if a person does not undergo suffering and pain, then he cannot become mentally strong, and they do not develop wisdom and generosity. It is only circumstances that help us become wise, courageous, and generous. Therefore, as there is no such operation going on all across the globe, therefore the likes of those mentioned by Nelson Mandela in his speech and the pictures that you have already seen can never be produced. Okay? Perhaps it requires such depths of operation to create such heights of character. This is what I just explained you, dear students. It requires such depths of operation. Means the more the operation, the more you will suffer the operation, the more you will suffer the pain and agony, the more resilient you will become, the more courageous you will become, the more wise and generous you will become. Therefore, Nelson Mandela says this sentence, perhaps it requires such depths of operation to create such heights of character. Okay, such heights of character means those characters of extraordinary courage, extraordinary wisdom, generosity. Okay, so these such heights of character can be produced only under such crisis situation. Depths of operation here. Depths of operation here means the magnitude of suffering and magnitude of suffering. Okay, magnitude of pain. Okay, so if you have more depths of pain, you shall become more sound. Okay, you shall become more physically and mentally sound. Therefore, such heights of characters could be produced only because they underwent years of misery, years of suffering, years of oppression. Understood? Next, my country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. Now, Nelson Mandela is giving priority to the human beings as the most precious asset on earth. Okay, it is more precious than the purest diamonds also, because with the combined effort of human beings, with the combined dedication and commitment of human beings, a country can progress very fast. Understood? Therefore, the most valuable asset for a country is its human beings. Okay, is the human resources. So human resources here are compared to the purest diamonds, and said that human resources are more true and more valuable than even the purest diamonds. Understood? It is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Okay, it is from these comrades in the struggle, it is from these people in the struggle, from these leaders in the struggle, that Nelson Mandela said he has learned the meaning of courage. Now, dear students, Nelson Mandela will describe us the meaning of courage. What is the meaning of courage? Okay, let's find out how he describes the meaning of courage. Okay, let's find out. Okay, so he says, time and again I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen man stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. So he is now taking the reference of those people who have fought for their country, who have fought for a particular cause. Okay, so he is talking about those people. He is trying to draw inspiration. He is trying to draw or get inspiration from those people ahead of him, okay, who have sacrificed their lives for a greater cause, for the cause of the country, for the cause of their freedom. Understood? So this is the meaning of this line. Time and again I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. He says that he has seen a lot of people who have taken risk of their life and sacrificed their lives for the sake of their country, for an idea. Idea could be an idea of liberation, idea of freedom, or idea of social evils like, you can say, discrimination, apartheid and all that. Okay, so Nelson Mandela says that he has seen many people, many men and women who have sacrificed their lives for a particular idea. So this idea here refers to the fact that it could be an idea of liberating people from the bondage of foreign rule, or it could be it could be a social discrimination like the discrimination between the black and the white, or it could be a gender discrimination also, social discrimination also, gender discrimination also. Understood? Social discrimination like gender discrimination also. So it could be any good idea for which he has seen a lot of people who have sacrificed their lives. Next, I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking. So Nelson Mandela says he has seen many people who have stood up to attacks, stood up to a lot of oppression and torture without giving up. Without breaking means without giving up, showing a strength and resilience in the process of their fight. They showed their strength and resilience that defies the imagination. Defies the imagination means that that cannot be believed, okay, or that cannot be even conceived in the mind. Understood? So I have seen man stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience. Resilience means ability to deal with any kind of hardship is called resilience. Okay, tenacity, resilience, they are synonymous words. Okay, I will not give up. So not being able to give up, not in a position to give up, is something resilience all about, dear students. Okay, and he said that I have seen many people who showed, who did not break down, to a lot of torture and attacks by external forces, who showed greater strength and resilience that defies the imagination. Defies the imagination means that cannot be even conceived in our imagination. Understood? Next, I learned the courage. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. This is very important question for your test also. What, according to Nelson Mandela, is courage all about? So you've got to write, courage was, according to Nelson Mandela, courage was not the absence of fear, but a triumph over it. Triumph means, dear students, victory. Okay, victory is called triumph. So Nelson Mandela says that courage is not just the absence of fear in your mind, but courage is the triumph of fear from in your mind. Triumph of fear. You should triumph. You should win over any kind of fear in your mind. That is what is courage all about. Okay, so courage is not only the absence of fear, but also the triumph over the fear in our mind. That is what is courage all about. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. He says that brave man is the brave man is is not the brave man is that person who has fear, of course, but who conquers that fear. He is called a brave man. A brave man is somebody who conquers over his fear. It's not that human beings don't have fear in their mind. Every one of us has some underlying fear in your mind. But a brave person is that person who can conquer that fear in his mind. That is what is the definition of a brave man according to Nelson Mandela. Now, no one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. Now Nelson Mandela is giving a description of the very true fact, okay, of life. What is that? He says that nobody is born to hate another body. Okay, immediately after your birth, you are not told to hate somebody. Okay, so the quality of hatred is not inborn, is not something which is innate. Circumstances make it, okay, make people hate somebody. Okay, otherwise nobody is born with the negative quality of hatred. Understood? So Nelson Mandela says here, no one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. Okay, nobody is born hating another person due to the color of his skin or his background or his religion. Okay, hatred is something which is fed in the mind of the people, okay, when they grow up. Understood? Hatred is social evil that is transmitted to people, okay, after certain period of their life. Okay, when they grow up, when they understand what is right, what is wrong, then hatred is something which is fed in the mind of the people, which is transmitted in the mind of people. Hatred is something which nobody is born with. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. This is a very important statement, dear students. Try to understand. Nelson Mandela says that no white community of people, okay, is born with the feeling of hatred for the black community of people, or vice versa, or no black person is born to hate the white person. It is the situation, it is the circumstances, it is the society that feeds him with the idea to hate a person just because of his color of skin, or just because of his social background, or just because of his religion. Understood? Nobody is born with the idea of hating another person. So Nelson Mandela says that if hatred is fed in the mind of people, if hatred is taught to people, okay, if hating a person is taught to people, people must learn to hate. People are forced to learn to hate some other people, and if they can learn to hate, they can also be taught to love. So hatred is something which has been fed in the mind of the people. Therefore, if people have been taught to hate, okay, if people have been taught to hate by seeing the color of some people, okay, then they can also be taught to love other people. If hatred can be taught, why not love? Love can also be taught. Therefore he says they can also be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than hatred. Okay, love is the divine quality that every human being is born with actually. Understood? Therefore, love comes naturally to human beings than hatred. Okay, than hatred. Even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would set a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Dear students, please do focus on my lecture. Do not be involved in texting one another. If you have any query, I shall certainly respond to that after my lecture gets over, not before that. Please do concentrate on what I am talking, because it is very important. Most of the lines in this particular lesson are very difficult, so it needs interpretation from teacher. Okay, so please do focus on what I am explaining. Okay, now Nelson Mandela says, even in the grimmest times in prison, while Nelson Mandela, dear students, Nelson Mandela was put behind the bars. He was imprisoned. Okay, because he was forwarding the cause of the black community of people against the white government. Therefore, he was imprisoned also. So during his stay in the prison, he has experienced something which he is sharing with all the readers here in these few lines. So what he is saying, even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, means when his comrades means his companions, okay, his company in the his other company in the prison, other inmates of the prison, prison is called comrades here. So when Nelson Mandela and his comrades were made to do a lot of hard work in the prison, because prisoners are given a lot of difficult works, a lot of cruel works to perform. Understood? So while Nelson Mandela was in the prison, he and his other inmates in the prison were given a lot of hard work to do. Okay, pushed to our limits. Okay, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards. He could observe a kind of kindness. Okay, in one of the guards of the prison. What was the kindness that he observed in one of the guards of the prison? Perhaps just for a second he could observe it. Who could observe that? Nelson Mandela could observe that there is some humanity in the heart of the one of the guards in the prison. But it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Okay, he might have observed it just for a few seconds, but he got inspiration out of the divinity or the divine quality that one of the guards was displaying, okay, in the prison. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. Okay, so Nelson Mandela here does not explain what kind of humanity he could observe in one of the guards in the prison. He just gave a passing reference of one of the prison guards, saying that he could see a glimmer of humanity just for a few seconds in one of the guards in the prison. But he did not disclose to us what was the glimmer of humanity that he could observe in the guard. And then he goes on to say that it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. But this particular glimmer of humanity in the guard was sufficient enough to keep him going, to inspire him. Okay, and then he says, what does he say after that? Sahil Mohammed, glimmer of humanity means, say for example, this glimmer of humanity means the human quality in a person. Like it could be a charity, it could be kindness, it could be honesty, it could be sympathy. Okay, it could be any virtue that a human being is supposed to possess. Okay, this is what is glimmer of humanity. Okay, glimmer of humanity might be the guard was very much kind, might be he was very much sympathetic, might be he was very much helping in nature. So anything, all these positive traits of human beings are referred to as glimmer of humanity here. Understood? Okay. So then he says, man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. Okay, Nelson Mandela then says that if a person has some good quality, if a person has some positive qualities in him, that can be hidden but that cannot be extinguished, that cannot be put out. Means, if you are kind at heart, your kindness may be suppressed for some time, for some reason, but you shall never bid farewell to your kindness. Means, this quality of kindness will be with you. Okay, you can never part with this quality of kindness. Okay, so that is the meaning of this line. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. Here, man's goodness has been compared to a flame that can be hidden but it cannot be put out. Understood? So goodness can comprise of anything. It could be a charity work, it could be sympathy, empathy, it could be honesty, it could be integrity of character, it could be his helping nature, it could be his politeness in interaction with others. So it could be anything. So Nelson Mandela says that if a person has basic goodness in him, that goodness will always remain with him forever and ever as long as he is alive. That goodness can be hidden for some time, for some reason, but it can never be extinguished. Means, this goodness will never apart from that person. Understood? Now let's move on. In life, every man has twin obligations. Dear students, this is very important from exam point of view. Please try to focus on my explanation of these few lines. Okay, so Nelson Mandela now says every human being, every man has twin obligations. Twin means two obligations. Dear students, do you know the meaning of obligation? What is the meaning of obligation? Obligation means the liability or the responsibility of a person as a human being to do something for others. Okay, it could be for your family also, it could be for your society also. Okay, obligation means the responsibility that a person is supposed to perform. Okay, or the responsibility that a person is supposed to have for his family or for his society. So Nelson Mandela says that every man is supposed to do two things. He has twin obligation. Obligation means it is required of you to do this work. Obligation means you are supposed to do this work. As a student, you are obliged to study. As a son, you are obliged to carry out the instructions of your parents. So this is your obligation. Understood? As a student, you are supposed to oblige the instructions of your teachers. So it is your obligation. So every man has twin obligation. According to Mandela, obligations to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children, and he has an obligation to his people, his community, his country. So, dear students, this particular sentence is very important. Okay, is very important. Remember, as a son, we have some responsibility towards our parents. Okay, as a student, we have some responsibility. As students, we have some responsibility to our school, to our studies. Understood? So, as a husband, a person has responsibility to his wife, and as a wife, a woman has responsibility to her husband. Understood? As a father, I have responsibility to my child. So this is what is called obligation. Okay, I am supposed to do certain things for the people I am involved. I am related with. Understood? As a person, I am supposed to do certain works. Okay, for the people, for the community where I am involved or I am very much related to. So that is what is called obligation. And I gave you several instances of such obligations. Okay, so what are the twin obligations that a human being is having? He has obligation to his family. Okay, because he has to contribute to the welfare, the progress of his family. To his parents, he has obligation. He has obligation to his wife and children. So you can say a person has twin obligations first obligation is towards his family, and family comprises of parents, wife and children, and he has also obligation to the society, to his people. Society comprises of people, community and country. Understood? So every human being is supposed to carry out these twin obligations. Okay, अभी पढ़ा हुआ नहीं आ पाएंगे, बाद में. Okay, so every man has twin obligations. So to his parents, to his wife and children, and to his people, his community and country. In a civil and humane society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations. Each man is able to fulfill those obligations. Because we are in a civil and humane society. Humane society means in a civilized society. Okay, in a civilized society we are supposed to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations and abilities. Okay, inclination means, dear student, is given here natural tendencies of behavior. Okay, so according, we have, as social beings, we have some obligations towards our society. Okay, and as a family person, we have also some obligation towards our families. So as a good citizen, we are supposed to oblige these two obligations. Understood? But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of my birth and color to fulfill both these obligations, because in South Africa the freedom of expression was not there. The freedom of doing whatever you want was not there under the white government, because white government always used to torture the black community of people. As a result, they were not mentally fit, they were not balanced. Okay, they were not mentally balanced. Therefore, under the hard oppression of the white government, it was not possible to oblige those twin obligations in South Africa. Okay, because of the color of skin, because of the birth. Okay, because of the birth in black society, it was not possible. Now he says, in South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. Okay, in South Africa, a man of color. Okay, man of color refers to here the black community mostly. Okay, the different races other than the white community of people. Okay, that is what is the meaning of a man of color. So a man of color, even if he or she wanted to live like a human being, it was not possible for him or her, because he, whenever he or she was trying to live an organized life, what is the ideal life, he or she was punished and isolated. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped off from his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart, a twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. It means in South Africa, if a person of color was found to be living an ideal life, fulfilling his duty to his people, to his family, then he was isolated from his family, from his society, and kept somewhere else. Okay, as punishment. Understood? So can you imagine the kind of oppression that black people were subjected to? It was such a horrible, such a cruel sort of extreme oppression that the black community of people, was undergoing in the hands of the white people. Okay, they were not allowed to live a life of dignity, life of self-respect. Understood? So that is why Nelson Mandela says it was not possible for people of a man of color to live a dignified life, to oblige those obligations, to fulfill those obligations to his family and society, because as soon as he was found to be doing so, he was ripped apart from his community, from his family, and kept elsewhere, so that he cannot form a bond with his family, he cannot form a bond with his society. Understood? Next, you see, I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligations as a son, a brother, a father and a husband. Okay. Nelson Mandela said initially he gave more priority to his family than the people of his society. Okay. But then in the process of serving his people, whenever he joined politics, when he started fighting for the liberation of his own community of people, then he realized that he should also fulfill the duty of fulfilling the desire of the people. Okay, so that is what he says here. I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligation as a son, because it is quite natural. It's quite natural because a person, whenever he joins politics or whenever he joins a greater kind of a 12:30. So whenever whenever a person joins for a greater cause, okay, for a liberation struggle, then he is ripped apart from his family. Why? Because you cannot give time to your family. That is why Nelson Mandela says that he was prevented from fulfilling his obligation as a son, brother, father and husband, because most of the time he was away from home, he was fighting for the cause of his own people. So he could realize that only when he joined politics. Okay, but initially, before joining politics, when he was in the family, he could give priority to his family over anything else. Then he says, I was not born with a hunger to be free. I was born free, free in every way that I could know, free to run in the fields near my mother's heart, free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my village, free to roast millies under the stars and ride the broad backs of slow-moving bulls. As long as I obeyed my father and abided by the customs of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. So, this let me explain you very quickly, because I am running out of time now. Up to this paragraph, dear students, I will explain you and then I will wind up today's lesson. So just listen carefully. He says, I was not born with a hunger to be free. Okay, I was born free in every way that I could know. Nelson Mandela said he was born free. Okay, in his childhood he could enjoy the freedom, free to run in the fields near my mother's heart, free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my village. In his childhood he had complete freedom, free to roast millies under the stars and ride the broad backs of slow-moving bulls. As long as I obeyed my father and abided by the customs of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. He said as long as he was obliging his parents, as long as he was fulfilling, obliging the rules of his tribe, there was no problem for him. Okay, he was not troubled by any law of man or God. But the problem started when he joined politics and started fighting against the white government. Only then the problem started, because he was going against the apartheid policy, he was going against the government. That is when the problem started for Nelson Mandela. But as long as he was in the family, looking after his family and obliging the rules and regulations of his society, of his tribe, then there was no problem. Okay, he was not troubled by the laws of man or God. But as and when he started protesting against the policy of apartheid, going against the white government, only then the problem cropped up and he became he was in trouble. Okay, so dear students, let's wind up here. I shall discuss further in my next